Hey there, I hope that you're doing well, enjoying your favorite cup of coffee, your favorite cup of tea, or depending on when you're watching this video, maybe you've already transitioned over to water. Let's get into today's topic, and it's the decisions that are draining your brain. So, all this quarter, what we're talking about is redeciding and eliminating redeciding. We make a decision and we go down the path, and something intersects, and we redecide what we've already decided. And part of that, like one of those behind the scenes decisions that's really draining your brain, are things in your house. So here's what I mean. I remember when we first started homeschooling, my I was behind before my feet even hit the floor every single morning, and I felt exhausted, being honest. There was so much. I mean, we were just like new to homeschooling. I felt like I was all over the place. I'm messing up my kids, like all of those things. And for me, if I walked through the kitchen to get to, we actually had a classroom. If I walked through the kitchen to get to the classroom and there were dishes in the sink, it was pretty loud. And so I did the dishes. And when I did the dishes, I was like, let me just take out the trash. And when I took out the trash, let me just vacuum. And when I vacuumed, let me just throw in a load of laundry. It's like one thing led to another thing, led to another thing. But all of those stacks of things were noise. They were little micro decisions that I was making before I could even sit down to work. Now, am I talking that you need to be 100% tidy and everything's in its place? No, that's the ideal. And to be honest with you, living tiny, when we were living in our tiny house while our big house was being renovated, it was so easy. There really weren't dishes in the sink. There really weren't any messes because there wasn't any space to have a mess. And it took me about 20 minutes to clean the tiny house each week. And my desk, my business, it was on a roller desk. That was it. That was all capacity and room that I had to work. And I still had commitments, and I still had things that I had to do to, to show up. I had still had lots of responsibilities on my shoulders. Didn't matter what was really happening in life, right? So I'm sure same could be true for you. This week we're hosting Clean Sweep. So these little simplify sessions that we do once a month, I'm loving them because they are really clean sweep. I can't wait for next month's either. But this week, the Clean Sweep is all around chores. And I thought, this is pretty simple. They're not going to really, I think that this one is going to knock it out of the park. I had a really, really simple system that I used with my kids. In the very beginning of homeschooling, I still was a wreck. And I felt like I was going to become extremely resentful of the decision because so much I felt was piled up on my shoulders, and I was running my business. But what ultimately happened, and this is probably one of my most favorite systems that I've ever built, one of the most consistent systems that I've ever implemented, was my chore chart. Now, what we're going to talk about there are chores to do, but we're going to break up really the main things that you need to complete in your home in order for it to run. But more importantly, stop making all those little micro decisions that are draining and exhausting your energy before you even sit down to work. And so I hope that you'll join me in the clean sweep. I'm going to show my OG clean sweep. I didn't call him, I call him a chore chart. And even when it was interesting because we did it with all four kids, and Jack wasn't even reading at the time. And so there were icons. And the thing that was interesting was that the baby, Jack, wanted to do all of the same things that the older kids were doing. So I didn't have to motivate the kids to help me do this chore chart. And I didn't pay the kids to complete their chores. Nobody was paying me every single day to get up and do the stuff in the house. And so this was a decision that our family made. And inside of the workshop, I'll share like the results of that chore chart. They have been so impactful in my relationship with my kids. the way that my kids like operate on their own now, like in their, whether they're at the dorm or they're in their apartments. And I think it's just breaking down what feels like overwhelming task into what are the core things that I need to operate my home. And let me get these done quickly, efficiently as possible in a normal routine that doesn't overwhelm me or drain my energy to do the work that I need to do because I have responsibilities. So we're going to stop redeciding. We're going to do chores the fun way. Yeah, they can be fun. And I hope to see your smiling face later this week. Take care. We'll talk soon.